Every CFL offseason, there are significant names that change teams, and we're looking at those that we think are going to have the biggest impact, Farhan. And we'll start in Calgary, where after a pretty successful 2.5-year run as a BC Lion, Vernon Adams is a Stampeder.
Absolutely, and the one thing that this situation gives Vernon Adams is some peace and some belief that this is his team no matter what. There's no looking over my shoulder at the possibility of Nathan Rourke coming back from the NFL or however things were going to play out there. He just gets to play, and it's his team, and it's his franchise, and they have absolutely embraced all things VA. So I think the marriage between he and Pat Delmonico, first-time offensive coordinator, and head coach Dave Dickinson is going to be a really good one. I think they believe in his ability to just kind of help reset the culture in that room to get the most out of the offense. They've brought in some additional pieces, names like Dominic Rhymes, and then you've also got a healthy Malik Henry. I think Vernon Adams can absolutely take off in the West this coming season.
I'm looking at the Edmonton Elks and the return of Jake Szna on the defensive line. Now, Szna has been one of the elite pass rushers in this league for a number of years, and of course, many of those years spent in Edmonton. He was traded to Toronto, and then once he became a free agent, believe me, the Argonauts very much wanted to keep him in the Big Smoke, but he goes back west to Edmonton, and this is a guy 30 years old, 45 career sacks, certainly has the ability to bring all kinds of disruption to the line of scrimmage for Edmonton, and somebody I expect to have a big impact on their defense this year.
You talk about a homecoming when you look at Szna. How about James Butler in Vancouver with the BC Lions? When he last played for the Lions, he rushed for over 1,000 yards, caught passes for over 500 yards, and then he goes to Hamilton, and last year it kind of looked like maybe he was washed up and we'd seen the end. The Lions didn't look at it that way. They wanted to get him back into this system, and even though it's a different offensive coordinator with Buck Pierce, you've got a coordinator that is fully committed to running the ball, and I think what they wanted was a very complete back, and we know that Butler can do it both from the backfield and out of the backfield. So I think this system, when you look at Brady Oliveira and what he did in Winnipeg, you can't call him a system back. He's an elite player, but just having similar opportunities in this offense, I think, could bring out the best once again in James Butler.
And a sort of homecoming for receiver Eugene Lewis, who goes from Edmonton to Ottawa and returns to the East Division, where, of course, he starred earlier in his career with the Montreal Alouettes. Now, Eugene Lewis hasn't received as much attention the last couple of seasons because, of course, the Elks have not been a playoff team. But as he goes into his age 32 season, he's still been a very productive receiver. Had 1,000 yards last season in Edmonton, and importantly, got to the end zone 10 times. And I say importantly, particularly in the context of the Ottawa Redblacks, because although their offense took a great leap forward a year ago, they were still dead last in scoring touchdowns. So certainly when they get to the red zone, I expect to see Drew Brown looking Eugene Lewis's way this season.
Meanwhile, I want to see how Kenny Lawler fares in Hamilton. I thought that receiving core was pretty good without him. Now with him, it's going to cause so many problems for any defense to look at when you consider, who do you guard? Do you guard Kenny Lawler? Do you deal with Tim White? Do you deal with Shamar Bridges? Even Keandre Smith is an emerging star as a Canadian receiver in this league. So you've got a player in Lawler in the last 4 seasons who hasn't played more than 13 games in any of those years for a variety of reasons. But when he is in the lineup, his offenses are different and he is highly productive. We'll see what he can do with Bo Levi Mitchell coming off a 5,000-yard season a year ago.